This conference will now be recorded.
So now you check, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Okay, fine. So what I was explaining is SAP landscape. SAP landscape is nothing but that arrangement of the server. So we have three types of server in the live environment. One is developing server, quality assurance server, and production server. So the production server comes to this final preparation stage, but until that they'll keep for quality assurance. Is that working? Integration testing, quality assurance. The quality testing, everything is conducted in that area in the final preparations. If everything is okay, that would once that would become a golden client that will be moving for uploading the master data and other set of services. But what about in the initial stage? So they used to prepare one sandbox. In that sandbox the development is going to be done, so by the technical consultant as well as ABAP functional consultant. So they used to keep the number of servers: development server, quality assurance server, and production server. So this process or arrangement of this configuration system and testing system and making that working properly or not, everything is testing is done by the real-time environment. So this is called as SAP landscape. So sir, what the people can do in the development server? So the development server also called as sandbox client. So where the consultant do the new customization as per the company requirement. So as per the customer requirement, so they used to customizing this SAP software in the sandbox area. So this is the main server where development testing everything is going to be conducted in this development server and as well as quality assurance server. Sir, there are three types of development server. One is sandbox, where the consultant will be writing the new programs as per the business requirement, and which will have three set of client. One is sandbox client, customizing client, and development testing client. Okay, so these are all working in this development server itself. Okay, so they used to prepare one small configuration according to their requirement. Okay, so that works in sandbox. So sandbox is a client, it is a place where all the system design work takes place. So system design work takes place is nothing but the customization project customization. So outline of the project, everything is system design works takes place in this area, that is called as sandbox. So the same configurations they'll be doing one more time in the customizing client. So once they have done after the configuration in the sandbox, okay, if everything is okay, then recreating the same configuration on this on this customizing client, this is called as web server. And last one is development testing. So whatever they have done in this configuration, they'll be testing. Okay, unit testing and project integration testing also conducted in this client. So this is complete set of development server. Once the development server is working fine, then they'll go for quality assurance server. So quality assurance server, so in front of the team members, so like client team members and as well as core team or IBM company or any SAP partners who have designed this server. So in front of them, according to their requirement, is that working or not, everything is going to be testing in the new customization programs and also the new customization client. So so and so on. That is called as quality assurance server. So quality server team members and other members are testing the new customization and programs which is designed in the development and configuration area, or we can call it as development server. And once that quality assurance is over or quality testing is over, they'll come to production server. So this production server, as I said here in this as of methodology, this is also called as golden client. So once that golden client is become uh, available to the server, then we can call it as production server. So it is the server where the live data of the company is going to be recorded the once the project is get started. So this is called as golden client or production server. And one has the authorization for the production client. So there is a limited access, so no one can accept basis consultant and above consultant. So other person, they they don't have much more privileges to access or to work on this production server. Okay, this is all about SAP landscape. Any doubts now? Clear? Any doubts? Okay, next I have a one more question, sir. How can I identify is that production server or is that development server or is that quality assurance server in the real time? Is there any question? So behalf of you, just I'm asking that, do you have that answer? How can I identify is that belongs to production server or is that quality assurance server? Okay, whenever you are logging, so there was a client number. Did you notice that when you were practicing client number 800 yesterday, you have seen it, it seems client number 800, and it was asking username. What was the username yesterday which I gave? SAP user, and the credential is
India one.
India 123. The moment if you click OK, that is taking you to SAP easy access screen. But what is the first line item here? We have client number 800. So if the client number 100, you assume that you are working for development server. If the client number 200, you assume that you are working for quality and testing server. If the client number 800, you assume that it is belongs to production server. And any number comes between 700 to 800, so it's like a training. Okay, 800 is also production, so not to worry about this. So now yesterday what I have used, is that correct? Client number 800. What it means? Client number 800 means which server it is?
Production server.
Good, production server. So being as a consultant, what is the first server to be configured now when you are customizing this project? Is it development or production or is that quality? Where do you start being as a consultant? See here, development server. So this is what I said here in the beginning, in the first line. Say this. Project preparation. Once the client has decided of its ERP system, then they used to prepare SAP landscape. SAP landscape of the project is nothing but arrangement of the server. So how many server is required for development? Like is nothing but sandbox, customizing client, then development testing, then for quality assurance server, then for production server. Okay, then how many subject matter is required, like consultant, how many consultant is required for the project. This is decided by the PMO. This is what I said in the first project preparations. I hope this is you understood. Clear? So today
So,
I discussed about,
actually,
yeah,
I have one doubt, sir. So, can you please
yes, ma'am.
explain the go live in the ASAP methodology, the last point? We actually couldn't hear you from that part.
Okay, okay. Final
After,
preparation or go live? Go live is nothing but it's a, recording day-to-day transactions in the live environment. It's called as go live.
okay, sir.
Okay, so where the golden client is once they set up, like like a gmail.com, once they kept in the live in our production environment, then it will take all the entries. So where we are going to record all the day-to-day transactions, it is called as go live. That is the fifth step. That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But to operate this one, end user training is required. One has to give the end user training. Consultant has to give end user training for the client. Okay, don't again confusion between this client and this client. Okay, so end user training has to be given by the consultant, and also he has to prepare the documentation. So while recording day-to-day transactions in the operations, so if they found any error or if the system is not working, they have to issue a ticket. They have to issue a ticket. Then that ticket has to be received by the IBM or SAP partners, and one has implemented this project. They have another duplicate copy of the golden client. So they will be implementing again if they face any problem, and they'll come back to the particular troubleshoot. In that way, that ticket raising concept will be working in the go live. Okay, what is LSMW full form? But what I'm explaining you is too technically I'm explaining you. But if you did not understand, again you ask me. Anybody noted this LSMW? Legacy system management workbench. Legacy system migration workbench or management workbench. Fine. And last class I said SAP Easy Access and IMG. When you open SAP software, there is a two interface. One is Easy Access interface and IMG interfaces. So IMG interfaces is the area where the consultant will be working or implementing the project, and where the consultant they can create a master data user or SAP Easy Access only the front end user, not for the consultant. So to record day-to-day transactions, they used to work for Easy Access and not IMG. So according to this definitions, so in SAP we have two types of data. One is master data, transactional data, and also one more is configuration data also there. But two things you have to remember here. So one is master data and transactional data, and configuration data also you can consider. Sir, what is the differences between master data and transactional data? Master data and transactional data that are differentiated based on, say this, based on this client number, the master data and transactional data that is going to be differentiated. Okay, and which forms are composite primary key for most of the database table. Whenever you create any data, there is a primary key has to be uh, computed automatically. And when you log on to the SAP system, you need to be entered this client number. So by defaultly in our environment was taken 800. That is a client number when you log in into the first time in our SAP. Okay, and also when you perform any transactions, okay, so like making payment, then generating any invoices, so any type of transactions, that data is saved in the database header table and also item table. Clear, right? So whenever you perform any transactions, so that data is saved in database header table and also item table. Okay, and there is one more concept here, transport request, that I'll tell you by practically, but as of now for theoretically you try to understand transport request. So transport request number, here I said what was that, basis consultant moving the data from one server to another server. See this is what I said, right? Basis team moving all configuration from one server to another server. But how he is going to be moving from one server to another server, all the configuration from one server to another server? Because they used to identify transport request number. With the reference of transport request number, okay, so they can moving the configuration settings. Transport request number are used to move configuration settings from one client to another client. Say this, from one client to another client. If there is development server, then that will be moved into uh, quality assurance server, that would moved into quality assurance server with the reference of transport request number. So transport request number generated by SAP itself. If you want, you can create it one more time. Okay, that are created automatically when you make any changes to the configuration table or program. That are created automatically when you make any changes to the configuration table or program. Table and item table, as I said, right? So configuration table and programs, any changes is going to be happen, then automatically that would be created. So when transport request number has been created, it can be moved client only if it is released. Clear? And one has to be which consultant will be taking the responsibility? Basis consultant are responsible for transporting transport request from one client to another. Clear? You ask me if you have any doubts. The people would think that, why sir, so much of theory you are explaining, you're not conducting directly practical things. How many of you thought like that? Why I'm not getting any response? Is it required, the theory? Good. But most of the people not like theory, right? Sir, we want practical, sir. Why you are, say Padma Shri is telling. Listening that we don't have patience to understand the theory. Basically, if you make it happen, then at least somehow we can manage. Hmm? Yes, good. Uh, type SPRO, and here we have SAP reference IMG, and just for your understanding purpose, just I'm taking this, how the transport request number is going to be issued by the system. Good. So now the moment if I click save button, make ensure what is going to be prompted now. See this. So this is called as transport request number. So we have so many transport request number here, which I have already created. So this ECCK 9000. So something like this. We have so much of information. So being as a basis consultant, you have to take whichever is belongs to your company or that particular company's data, and you have to move that particular information, whatever configuration you have done. But then sir, how do I create a new transport request number? So that by clicking on this area, we can create a new transport request number. See what is the current one, 76 we have. But now if you click new, so something, if you type and see what is the request number, see 84. So like this, transport request number every time that is changing. I hope this much is cleared. So in next class we will see how to create company, what is company, then company code, rest of the you ask me if you have any doubts. So once you go through this notes, that would help you. So see you all in next class. Not getting response. So I meet you in next class. Okay, so see you all guys.